On this episode of the Awareness Angle Interviews, I'm joined by Amy Stokes-Waters. She's the founder of the Cyber Escape Room Co., someone who took traditional security training and thought, no, we can do better. We talk about escape rooms, getting people actually engaged, and why your marketing team might actually be your biggest risk. It's fun, it's authentic, and yes, we talk about Hogwarts, dodgy TV buttons, and even Victoria's Secret. Look, it's a good conversation. There is a little bit of colourful language in this one, so might be one to pop your headphones in. But I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy it. Here's my conversation with Amy. Right, I'm here today with Amy on the Awareness Angle Interviews. Amy, why have I asked you to join me here today?
Well, that is a good question. Hopefully it's because I am somewhat of a person who knows about cyber security awareness. But I mean, the real reason is because we were meant to go to a conference and it was a bit shit, so we didn't go to it.
And that's the complete honest truth. So let's not even deny that. Yes. So I wanted to do this for a while, but the stars aligned and our calendars all of a sudden were empty for today. So it was like, why don't we? So yes, I've got Amy here. Amy, where are you from? Where do you work? What do you do?
Yeah. So, I mean, you might guess with the accent that I'm from Yorkshire. So that's a good start.
Yep.
But for work-wise, I run a company called the Cyber Escape Room Company. So traditional awareness training, found it really, really fucking boring, for want of a better phrase. So we mixed it up, made it interactive, immersive, engaging. Yeah, now we do escape rooms.
It's so birds of a feather, right? Annual, typical awareness training, dry, unengaging. And the thing that I think I'm verging towards now, and I kind of went that way where I used to work, was that it's a compliance exercise, right? It's not a behavioural change tool.
Yeah.
No one is more secure for 12 months for doing training in January. Like, that's not going to change how secure they are in November or December.
No.
No. And it's interesting you say about escape rooms, because escape rooms have been a thing that have been around for ages, and I've toyed with escape rooms where I used to work, and we had the conversation. I brought it to my CISO a couple of times, and I was never. So I had concerns with escape rooms, right? And we'll cover more than escape rooms today, because I think we're probably both well versed and well immersed in security. But scalability on escape rooms was always the argument that I couldn't fight against.
Yes,
and basically, yeah, like the amount of effort versus impact was always the challenge that I had, that I never really could find an argument for.
Yes.
So, I mean, like, getting into it real right and early, like we're only 2.5 minutes in, but let's get into that. Let's, so scalability on escape rooms, how do you achieve that? How does that become a thing?
Yeah, so we've built them to come in a box. Our strapline is training in a box, never tickle a box. So we've built them to come in a box. So you can do it in groups of 5 people, but you can have loads of them running all at the same time. So I think the most people I've run it for myself is 100 people at once.
Oh, wow.
So we do it we get asked to go to conferences all the time and provide the entertainment with that little sideshow of fun. And we run escape rooms for multiple people at once. We also rent out our escape room, so we can send you it. You can run it yourselves, so you can keep it for a month or however long you want. So we've had people who've taken it on like road shows around different offices. I mean, what I always say is the stuff that we're doing is not meant to replace a more structured security awareness program. So it's something to add on to it. So I always say, don't make it mandatory, make it voluntary. I mean, we're always oversubscribed when we do that. So that's cool, because people actually want to get involved in it. And yeah, we let people, I guess, kind of keep it for themselves for a bit. They can go around offices and run it. So we had one customer borrowed it for a week and got through 300 people with, I think they had 3 kits. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I think I get the scalability issue, but if you're not doing it as, it's not a tick box exercise, i.e. not everyone has to do it. It's just something that can help engage people with the security team. So another strapline that we've got is where security is best PR tool.
Yeah.
Because no one ever wants to talk
that.
to the security team, but if they're doing something fun, then suddenly everyone's like, "Oh yeah, can I get involved in that?"
It's that strapline in itself, changing the conversation. I've been involved in conversations recently where someone's referred to, no, it's cybersecurity's team. It's cybersecurity's job to be the police, to be the enforcers, and it's like,
no, it's not.
I'm not sure it is really.
You don't want that viewpoint from the rest of the business. You want people to want to engage with you and want to talk to you.
Yeah.
You don't want to be batting them around the head with stuff. So that's why we try and provide stuff that's engaging. So I'm trying to push our organisation away from more awareness into more engagement and giving companies the tools that they can use to engage their workforce with cyber. So we've got the physical escape rooms, but we're building a digital one at the moment as well. So we've got. Cool. I've got a version of it on WhatsApp, but everyone's decided that they don't want to fucking use WhatsApp anymore, so that's nice. So we're moving it off of WhatsApp onto a web app. But we've got that's like you're trying to infiltrate a mafia gang, and there's a mafia insider that you're communicating with, and he's giving you puzzles and stuff, and he's like really sarcastic and tells you you're a bit shit as you're going through it, and like it's funny. So we've got kind of around the scalability thing with that stuff as well. So there is a place for, I guess, the digital stuff, but we're trying to make it so it's not just watch this video, answer these questions. Like if we're trying to making it interactive, so giving you a persona to actually talk to.
The things you highlight there really make me think you're not just making it funny, you're making it relatable. Like you're talking to people in the way that they would normally get spoken to, or, very casually. It's not, welcome to the annual training course. Here but also it's about stuff that's even though it's scenario based, it's stuff that's kind of real as well. Like, and stuff that matters. It's not, in 2023, this company paid a fine. How much was the fine that they paid? Was it this much, or this much? It's like, how is that going to change behaviours? What you want to get people in the heat of the moment, playing on their emotions and get them engaged. Yeah. And engagement is huge, isn't it?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
With a lot of the stuff that we do, we try and flip the script and let you be the hacker. Because people don't want to be sat there going, oh yeah, I'm going to defend against this, because it's so boring. Like, no offense to anyone that works in a SOC, but that's not the cool side of it, is it? You want to be the person hacking. You want to be the one that's causing the chaos. So if we can say to people, right, you're going to go cause the chaos, now go think like an attacker.
Yeah, I think back to like the hacking films of old, like Sneakers or Swordfish with John Travolta in his suit and his cool beard, and it's like he's not the protectors. They're the people going out there doing the dodgy stuff. Do you know what I mean? That's the sexy side of security almost, and that's what gets people excited, getting immersed in stuff. Yeah. So, what led you on your journey here? How did you land at like cyber escape rooms?
So we originally set up a business that was doing training, but it was like pen tester training. It was probably the exact kind of training that I totally rail against right now. I'm quite happy selling it for a while because it made us some money. But then the guy that I was working with, he left the business and he was doing all of the technical stuff. I'm not technical. Right. Like, I don't know where the command line is on my MacBook. People ask me, I'm like, that's it. That is no tech background at all. I'm sales and marketing. But we'd come up with this cyber escape room idea for a customer that we'd been working with. And they said, do you reckon you could make as an escape room type thing? And I went, yeah, go on, we'll give that a go. So much to do on a weekend, isn't it? So we sat and we did that. And then when he left the business, then I was like, shit, I genuinely don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. So I was like, right, well, we've got this escape room. And a few people had said to me, that is probably the coolest thing that you've got anyway. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to rebrand the whole business and we're just going to push escape rooms. And it's going well so far.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely visible, like as a brand and a business. Like we were saying before I hit record, that this is the first time we've actually spoken. Unless my memory is really bad. No, this is the first time we've spoken. But like, I feel like we've bounced around in the same circles, and I've definitely seen you and your brand like here, there, and everywhere. And people have said you need to talk to Amy what Amy's doing is cool. So you're clearly making some impact with that. And you're not the only escape room business out there.
No.
But clearly, is there something that makes you unique, or is it the approach, or is it the package? Or
yeah, so I think some of the other escape. I mean, I obviously do know quite a lot about the other escape rooms because I do competitor analysis quite often. But I've not done many of the other escape rooms. I've just worked from what I've seen online and stuff. So I think there was the issue with a lot of other people have the issue with scalability, like you were saying. Like one of the companies, they deliver an escape room, but it's in a 75 kilo box, and you've got to build it yourself, and it only fits.
Is it an actual room?
Well, yeah. So it looks. I think they're actually giving you like a little container thing to put in your office.
Wow.
But you can only do 3 people at a time, and that kind of thing. So what I've tried to look at it and go, okay, so how can I make it so I can make the most money out of the back of it? To be fair, so let's make it scalable. So we can get 100 people doing it at a time. That's obviously a lot better. So. Yeah, so I think we've kind of got that angle, which helps. We get invited to a lot of conferences. I'm a gobby bitch on the internet. I don't know if you've noticed. So I think that also helps. I just think the amount of content that we push out. But we also tried to do with our brand. I said to the graphic designer when we were designing it, I said, anything but blue. Just don't do it fucking blue. I don't want blue. So
here I am surrounded by blue. Yeah, I know. I completely get what you mean. Like, it's really crucial to stand out. When we did the Risky Creative brand, that all of this is based on, it's black and white, right? That's the branding, because we kind of didn't want blue.
Yeah.
The branding for the podcast is kind of blue, because it was like, follow the herd, blue is secure and stuff. But I completely get, like, if you want to stand out and disrupt, try something different. I
think we take that disruptive element into everything that we do. So it's like the colours, the brand, the copy, like how we market ourselves, the things that we say on the internet, like all of that is all kind of fits that disruptive, innovative pattern. So there's not like loads of companies sit there and go, we're disruptive. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're just like a fucking accountant.
I'm disruptive in my. I wore a red tie today.
Exactly, and they're like, and they'll sit and lecture you. So there's some other people doing escape rooms, but as part of it, they also enforce that you do like a 45-minute to an hour lecture at the end of it. Not lecture, but like workshop thing. I was like, that
probably feels like a lecture for those going through it.
That clearly defeats the object in my mind.
Yeah,
we do like 5-10 minute debrief. Like, what did you get out of it? You tell me what you've learned from the back of it, and I can point out some bits, but.
Do you know, with that, it almost feels like the escape room is just the lure to get you in to listen to them present for 45 minutes. It's like the drinks before a conference or something like that. It's kind of why with what you're saying, they're there for the escape room. That's where the learning is. That's where the benefit is. And that's what they're going to take away from it.
We build loads of like little bits into the escape room. So like in one of them, you hack into a laptop, and then on the desktop, there's a passwords file. So as we're going around and as the people are doing it, I'm like, oh yeah, look at that passwords file in there. Have you got something similar than that? The amount of people that go, yeah, I do actually. I better delete that, haven't I? I'm like, yeah, probably. Like, that's not cool, man. But we kind of have those learning outcomes come out throughout the escape room. So we're talking to people as they're doing it. So then we can kind of point things out as we're going, because it's more relevant then.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you reckon, going on that, what's some of the worst horror stories you've been told then? You said like post-it notes or passwords written down. Has anyone ever divulged to you something and you're like, what the, is there some right shockers that you've heard?
Oh, well, I mean, I've worked in pen test, sold pen testing for 10 years, for a few years. So some of the shit that we used to see from that was horrific. There was one TV company that we were working with. Not any that I've worked with recently, by the way. So don't think it's any that I've worked with recently. It was.
If any of your recent customers are listening, it's not you
that I'm talking about. This is a long time ago. This is about 5 or 6 years ago. We worked with this like TV channel, and we hacked into their. I think it was one of the senior managers, but they had a button on their desktop where you could just turn the TV channel off. Like the whole thing would just go offline on this program, and we were like, should that be there on just because you're not in charge of the TV channel? You're not anything to do with security. It was just like some random senior manager, and there was a button on there. We could get into the program and you could switch the TV off. I was like, that's insane.
That's insane.
The amount of people where we've got onto their desktop and then we've seen password folders, but I mean, it's got all the bank details in, it's got the business bank details in, it's got all of the social media accounts. I mean, most marketing teams do tend to share the social media passwords with each other on plain text. I do find that is a common issue. But
do you know, I've got, funny you say about marketing, I've got one of these interviews coming up with someone who does marketing and content marketing. And one of the things that she flagged that was a right for discussion, and this is spoiler alert, but it'll be fine, is that marketing is like the secret. Like when you're in our security awareness function and you're putting together the high risk areas, you'd go legal, you'd go people team or finance or that customer service that are dealing with the front line and opening the emails. You would never, ever, ever say marketing. But actually, well, you would, but a lot of people wouldn't but it's because marketing is so loose and free with these things typically, or there's lots of sharing that goes on.
There's lots of sharing, but I think they're also the reputation for that business, because if they're in charge of all the social media accounts and stuff, if they're sharing the passwords between each other via text message or whatever, or on email, come on. So I mean, we do have quite a lot of customers where they go, shit, should we be using a password manager then? And I'm like, yes, you should. Let's talk about that. So then the amount of conversations that we have about password managers after doing our escape rooms is unreal. But that's people are asking you about them rather than you having to go and go, you should be doing X, Y, Z. They come to you at the end of the escape room and go, okay, I see why I might need a password manager now, rather than doing it how I'm doing it.
You have a reseller account for password managers?
Not at all. We probably should get one with it.
Yeah, at least a referral code or something. Yeah. That's amazing. What's has anything bad ever happened in an escape room that you're like that? Has there ever been any bad things? Have you got any bad tales?
Well, about
big oopsies.
I mean, one customer did send them an escape room, totally forgot to send them the instructions, then sent them the wrong instructions. It was a disaster. I managed to get them the instructions eventually. And actually, some of the teams did manage to do it without any of the clues. So that was fine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I make it so that you should be able to finish it, right? You shouldn't actually need the clues. But anyway. But yeah, they got super mad about it. So, I mean, I get it. But but I've learned my lesson since then, and we've resolved that. So I think that's the only time really we've ever had anything like mega bad happen.
I think we all agree that shit happens sometimes, right? Doesn't it? You know, it's like no one's in this whole. We wouldn't be doing what we did if people were perfect. Exactly. Okay, like the whole reason we're in this industry is because people will mess up sometimes. Yeah. You know, they will make mistakes and shit will happen.
Yeah, so. I think I'm quite good at admitting when I've made a mistake. I've got no issue with saying, you know what, I was not on form there. And I think that's totally fine. I think people actually relate more to that than people who sit there and pretend that they're fucking perfect all the time.
Yes. Yeah. So turning learning into games is obviously like annual training we have discussed doesn't work.
Yeah.
So turning learning into games, have you seen evidence? Has anyone told you where like feedback that actually they've learned something from one of your sessions that has have you got any big like I've made a difference there? You know, is there any big moments where you're like, oh, I actually think I've done some good or something like that?
Well, I think there's been a few like that. So we had one customer who came back to us and said, this is the most impactful messaging that we've ever delivered on password security. Wow. Like people are paying more attention to it than other stuff. So that's always nice to hear. But yeah, I think like we went into a school. It was a posh school in St Andrews actually, and I was like, "Fuck, I've never done an escape room at Hogwarts before, but cool." But at the end of that, there's faculty.
That's going to be a quote on this. I've never done an escape room at Hogwarts before. That's going to be a quote on the newsletter that goes out with this. Just letting you know.
Yeah, but the faculty at the end of it were like asking about passwords and how they can be more secure. So I always think any time that I've got through to even just one person in the room has asked me a question about additional security measures they can be using, that always makes me super happy, because I think, well, I've made a difference to, even if you just made a difference to one person. Because I always think in security, we need to be looking at incrementally improving our security levels. You're not going to sit there and go, right, we're going to go from 0 to hero. But if you can slowly like nudge people in the right direction, because it becomes a snowball effect. Then it's like that's why I always talk about security champions and why having a security champions network is actually really useful. Apart from the fact I can use your security champions to deliver my escape rooms in your business and therefore sell loads more of them. But I think they're actually really useful because people listen to their peers. They don't want to be lectured to. That's why we don't do any lecturing as part of the escape room. We just come in, have some fun, and have a chat with them about whatever they want to chat with. But I think people listen to their peers more than they listen to authority.
Absolutely. I think you touched on champions there. Champions is so where I used to work, we didn't have a champions network for ages because we always thought it wasn't quite like we weren't at the right place or it wasn't quite the right fit.
Yeah.
And then we did do a champions network. And then just before I left, we had a session with Sarah at Layer 8 about the champions networks. Anyone listening that isn't familiar, Layer 8 are a business that focuses purely on champions networks. And we did a session with Sarah, and we wished we'd have done that session sooner because, and I left before we could reap any of the benefits from that. But that session with Layer 8 really showed us what a champions initiative could look like and how it could be weaponized. And something like escape rooms, scaling that out and getting them to be the facilitators of those initiatives, that's awesome. There's your scalability problem solved straight away in some ways, isn't it? If you've got people in each place.
Yeah, exactly. We make them so that it's easy for people to run because I don't want to be running around going to all these places having to deliver stuff when I could be sat at home in my pajamas.
There's not like a CV of requirements. It says must be into amateur dramatics, must be able to pick a lock, must have an IQ higher of 147. There's not something.
I wouldn't even fit those criteria. So
no, neither would I. So you're all right.
Yeah, there's no requirements to be able to do it. So it's we make it really simple for people because why would you make your product hard for people to use?
With you obviously you're a vendor in this space. I'm a practitioner, whatever you want to call. I'm getting paid to deliver stuff. Your people like me are paying you to deliver stuff. What do you make of the security awareness vendor space and how it's changed over the last few years? How long have you been going as the escape room?
So we've been going as the escape room co for 18 months.
18 months.
Yeah. But I mean, I think security awareness at the moment is having a bit of it, is getting in the limelight a little bit. I think we're actually, I think people are realizing that, traditional training hasn't been doing what we thought it was going to be doing. I mean, obviously it hasn't, because if you look at, if you say 20 years ago, what were your biggest issues? And it's like password security and phishing. And now what are your biggest issues? Probably password security and phishing. We don't seem to be moving the needle on this at all.
No.
So I think vendors are kind of coming around to that and realizing that we need different things to do, and there's a lot more disruption going on in the space. So I mean, we were talking about Simeon Quarry earlier. Like, he's just developed those Vivida reels that are like Instagram reels that go on your phone, so you can learn about security like that rather than it being some PowerPoint slides for you to have a look at. Like, we've partnered with a company called Goldfish they're a South African owned business.
Yes. Dan Thornton.
Dan Thornton, yeah.
Yeah.
I always joke.
Both the names you've just dropped are people that I've got on my list to get on and talk to. Simeon's, I need to sort that out. And Dan's another one that I've reached out to as well, because like you say, they're disruptors in this space that, and also seem to be outspoken and, saying the right things, at least from where I'm concerned. Yeah,
I mean, I looked at the Goldfish stuff and I was like, fuck, I could have written this. It's like we've somehow managed to both develop the same brand voice, totally independent of each other. So yeah, we've partnered with them. So we're looking at building some content out for SMB market as well. So like up to 250 users. So we're building some bundles now of capabilities that people can buy. So you can kind of just go, right, I want security awareness off the shelf, and then here's your program for the year, done. So we're trying to kind of push more into that to bring a bit more value, because some people look at the escape rooms and they're like, oh, it's just a one-off thing. Well, it doesn't have to just be a one-off thing because we have multiple scenarios and you've got lots of different teams and we've got other things that you can put alongside it, and we've got incident response workshops you can do with it, or we can do capture the flag exercises for the development teams. But there's loads of different ways that we can get the business to engage with the security team that isn't just doing a one-off escape room.
Do you know what? So I would have been of that mindset in some ways, that it was a one-off, right? And then when I thought about doing this a couple of years ago, I was like, okay, we'll do an escape room, we'll video it, we'll market, we'll create a little, we were quite a creative function where I used to work. So we'd have videoed that and we'd have told a story around, we got 10 developers in a room and we ran an escape room and here's what it looked like, and put some footage with it with some music, and then maybe got a couple of vox pops afterwards about what did you think of the escape room, blah, blah, blah. And then what we might have done is gone, if you want to take part in our next escape room, reach out to us and let us know.
Yeah. And
then we'd have distributed that around the business because, one, it makes security look good. It makes security look like they're engaging with the people. And two, it tells a good story and opens doors to do this again. What I hadn't considered is going back to the people that had done it once and getting them to do it again. But if you've got multiple scenarios with different takeaways, then you could almost do this like, you could circuit it, couldn't you? And you could come back again and again and again.
Why do you think,
with different?
Exactly. Why do you think I'm building more scenarios out? Because I want, we want that repeat business, baby.
In the conversation I had with Erin Gallagher at Fastly, she was doing, so she does annual training, but rather than rinse and repeat kind of the similar messages, she's actually working on like a 5-year development plan to upskill. So certain knowledge in year 1, in year 2, they build upon that. In year 3, and I can't remember now if it was yearly or more frequently than that. But essentially, she's leveling up rather than just ticking a box.
Well,
and I think that's kind of what this would do as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you need to be doing, isn't it? In every other area of learning and development, you don't just sit. Like, my daughter goes to school now. She's 7. She's not still fucking learning the alphabet in year 2 because she's learnt the alphabet. Now we're moving on to like how to do persuasive writing because we've learned how to read and write. So now we're going to move on to something more complicated. With cyber awareness training, for some reason, it's like, here's some phishing stuff. Here's some phishing stuff.
Yeah.
Here's some phishing stuff. Like, come on, man. Let's make it a bit more something for you to attain.
Yeah. Erin, what made Erin unique was she didn't even do phishing simulations. And that, I think, was a really, there was a period in time when I didn't do phishing simulations, mainly because I was without a vendor and it was a lot of effort to do it myself, even though we did. But then there was also a period of time where we did have a phishing vendor and we just left it running. We didn't kind of look at it, play with it at all. We didn't tickle it at all. We just kept it going there in the background because we had to, you've got to do phishing. And it's like, I'm not a fan of phishing simulations. I think some people do use them well, but as it's not a silver bullet, is it? At all.
No, and it seems to be the metric that most security teams hang their hat on when it comes to awareness training, and I think it's insane because it's so malleable that as a like that. Those metrics can be so easily fucking fucked up. When you look at people who sell phishing assessments, they're like, we can get your click rate down to less than 1%. That is fucking irrelevant whether it's at less than 1%. One person clicking on it could be the downfall, right? So that is irrelevant. I could get it to 0% by writing on the phishing email, this is a phishing email, don't click on it, right? Because who's monitoring that? So if you're not using the same levels, if it's not the same difficulty the whole time, it's just getting easier and easier and easier, of course the click rate's going to go down.
Yeah, that's it. It's one of those like, I need more budget. I'm going to make the click rate go up so I can get more budget allocated. There's a board report coming in. I better bring it down. Yeah, no, it's. I think the reason phishing statistics are one thing that people reported on is because it was for a long time, it was one of the only things that we could report on.
Yeah.
I remember having to collate reports, 7, 8, 9 years ago, and it was training completion and phishing click rates.
Yeah.
And now we look beyond that. Now, like 6, 7 years ago, human risk platforms started appearing, and you had your cyber safes, and people like Culture AI emerged, and all of a sudden you could tap into user behaviors, so you could get more of a picture. But that space is still a little fuzzy for me. Like,
yeah, I mean, I still think it's really difficult because I always think security awareness is like marketing, right? Which is probably why I can kind of get my head around it. So so McDonald's, I've said this on several podcasts before, McDonald's on Coca-Cola, we all know who the fuck they are. We all know who they are. Do they stop marketing to you? No. Do they only market once a year? No. It's fucking osmosis constantly. Like, it's on the radio, it's on the TV, it's on ads, pop-up ads on your computer, you get text messages, it's everywhere. Security awareness also needs to be everywhere. But then the issue with that is, much like with marketing, how do you attribute which campaign is working for those end users? So it's just got to be, I mean, with my marketing, I'm just like, that one looked like it did quite all right. And, and you can always say to a customer, like, where did you hear about us from? Yeah. Wherever they'll just tell you what their last touch point with you was. But actually, there's 7 other ways that they've told you before that. So in terms of security awareness, like, what do you think made the biggest impact? Well, actually, it's probably a fucking combination of all of the different things that we've been doing.
I had that yesterday. Someone reached out to me about something. I was like, can I ask, like, where you heard of me? And essentially it was, I noticed you around. It was like, because like you, I'm kind of out there, and if you're out there enough and you're pushing it out enough. Where I used to work, we had a bi-weekly newsletter, and our newsletter got for 8 years, every 2 weeks we sent a newsletter out to the whole business, and it was constant, and other newsletters came and went. Internal comms had their newsletter that changed shape a few times, but ours was constant, always. And the engagement we got from that was amazing. And we knew we got good engagement because when we put videos or stuff in it, we'd see people talking about it. Yeah. And whilst we couldn't have actual metrics, the fact that we were forming part of the conversation or the office noise was, we were involved in that. Yeah, showed that we were.
It's consistency. I mean, that's another issue with marketing. People will run a marketing campaign for 3 weeks and then go, "Oh, that's not worked. So I'm going to sack it off and try something new." And you're like, "No, it takes a bit longer than that, love. You've got to fucking talk about the same shit all the time, forever. Like, just keep going with it because it eventually will work." I mean, like, I started doing a podcast and the first episode got like 12 views, but the last one got 150 views. So you've got to keep going with it. If I'd given up after the first one because it wasn't engaging enough for the first one, then you don't end up growing it, do you?
Podcast is, I think, the best example of that, because podcasts literally, I think if you get past episode 8, you're in the top 2% of podcasts ever, because 98% of them don't get to episode 8 because people just give up because they see no viewership. Yeah. They see, oh, no one's watching, no one's listening, I won't bother. And I see that conversation all the time with podcasts, and this will bring me on to, like, you need to be where the people are, right? Because I see conversations going on with podcast people going, "Oh, you don't need to do video, just do audio," because like,
that's terrible.
I can't be bothered to dress up and I haven't got anywhere that looks nice or something like that. No. But the problem is, on audio, there's no like organic algorithm that will deliver. People that have listened to this also listen to this. Like, they do it, but not very well. What? YouTube has 20 years of experience in like algorithms. So that's why YouTube is such a powerful platform to go where the people are as well. And I think that's really important with marketing and messaging. You've got to go, there's no point screaming into an empty room. You need to go where all of the people are. Yeah. So putting it on having an intranet page and just putting something up there constantly, that's fine. But if no one's coming to your intranet page.
Exactly.
So like, have you found any kind of, where do you do your marketing that's like impactful? Is LinkedIn great for you?
LinkedIn is pretty much the only place where you do marketing.
Yeah.
LinkedIn. And then I get involved in loads of little things. So like, we're doing that Unicorn Chef podcast where we cook dinner and try and talk at the same time, which is ridiculously difficult. And I have a very insane amount of what's the word? Admiration for people like James Martin on Saturday Kitchen, because fuck knows how they actually cook a proper, really nice looking meal while they're having a conversation. It's so.
I'm going to cook this meal, but I'm going to have a full blown conversation with the guy over there while I'm not burning my stuff in my pan.
Exactly, that's it. Yeah, so hard. Yeah. So I'm going to get involved in stuff like that, so we, get some marketing content off the back of that. But then, because what we do is fun, and people drag us into conferences, we do a lot of event marketing, I guess.
Do you find, you mentioned brand voice, and there we're talking about like tone of voice and stuff. Brand voice is really important, and I think any security function, any security awareness team needs to have a brand voice. We found that with newsletters. We kind of kept it casual, short, to the point, relatable. Do you think there's, in sales, there was always the thing that you kind of mirror the way you talk to different people in different ways? So if I called a law firm, I would speak to them differently to the way I used to speak to Dave that ran his porter cabin business,
you know,
next to the railway line. But yeah, do you not find why? That's a really good question, right? So we used to do it, and it's kind of, in sales we used to call it mirroring. So you do it with body language as well, and it would be,
I'll sit like this now.
Well, yeah, that's kind of it, right? And I used to, when I used to be in meetings with my CISO, I used to find myself doing it because I spent 10 years in sales. He'd like sit back in the chair and he'd cross his arms. And then within 2 minutes, I'd be sat back in the chair crossing my arms. And it was like, wow, okay. But we do it with voice because then it kind of makes you instantly relatable. So if I called a law firm and it was like, Jeeves and Brothers, how may I be of assistance? And it'd be like, hello, I wonder if I could talk to, but if I spoke to Bob and Bob's like, port cabins, I'd be like, all right, Bob, how you doing? And it's, you don't find, like, your brand voice is your brand voice. You are you. That's
my brand voice. Our brand voice is our brand voice. We are who we are. If you don't fucking like it, that's totally fine. I'm not bothered.
I think there's power in that. I really do.
That is the issue with loads of companies. They try to be too many people. I'm going to tell you, this is what we're doing. This is who we are. And some people fucking love it, and some people absolutely hate it. And that's totally fine. I'm all right with that. I am comfortable with 50. If I can get a 50% market share, people loving me, and 50% are fucking going, get away from me, woman. That's fine. I'm all right with that.
I like that. And I think brands and anyone that's trying to build an internal brand with a security function can take something from that. Because I think if you're a salesperson trying to, like, what did I say? I used to sell internet advertising and websites, and at one point cars and houses. So, like, we won't get into that though, because that's a dark and sordid past that I'm not proud of. But I think when you're selling when you're selling a product that is very much you, people are, yes, they're buying the product, but they're buying into you. Then I think it's really important that you are authentic.
Yes,
and that, I think that's the key word here. And it's the same. Many security functions should stop trying to be preachy or prim and proper, or they should just be authentic and honest.
Just fucking talk to people how. I always think so. A lot of our customers, like a big majority of our customers, are insurance firms in London. You'd think, based off what you were saying then, that I would talk to them like, hello, I'm Amy, nice to meet you. I literally don't do that. I walk in and go, you all right, mate? How's it going? Give us a cuddle, have a hug, sit down, show them a bit of escape room, blah, blah, blah. And they come to us, knowing that's exactly what we're like. I think they kind of like the I think maybe they kind of like the spectacle. They're like, fuck, do you actually like that? But yeah, I don't change anything about how we talk to people, because that's who we are. I mean, the WhatsApp escape room that we've got, you have to go into a website called Victoria's Secret, because unbelievably, Victoria's Secret was not taken as a domain.
Wow.
So you go on victoriassecret.com, then I've turned it into a lingerie website. And that's part of the escape room that you have to go on to. A few people have been like, that's a bit risque. I was like, well, you'll remember it.
Risque or risky, it's like, I get it. Yeah. No, that's amazing. Yeah. No, authentic voice, I think, is really important, and it gets you places and opens doors, doesn't it?
I think everyone, when I think about financial services, you automatically think that they're boring, because they are just boring and dull. But the people that work in it aren't boring and dull. The people that work in it have fun on a weekend, and they go out for drinks with their friends, or they go play escape rooms, or they have children, or they swear, or whatever. Like, they're all actual people. So we've got to talk to people like they're actual people, instead of talking to them like they're a fucking function.
What's next for other than more scenarios, what's next for the escape rooms? Is there...
So I can't actually tell you this because it's probably not going to go live this week, but tomorrow I am signing a deal to have exclusive reseller in the US.
Oh.
So we're about to go big.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's incredible. Wow.
Cool.
So so you're gonna have a exclusive reseller over there selling all of your stuff and promoting you.
Yeah, so registered the Cyber Escape Room Co. LLC. That is now officially a company in America, which is cool. And yeah, we've got a marketing partner over there, so we can go do some events and kind of spread the word a bit. But I mean, we're already getting inbound leads from America anyway, so we're just finding a way to execute on them more efficiently.
Oh, that's cool. Amazing.
Yeah, and then the other thing we're building is the OT escape room.
Right.
Because no one fucking does anything interesting for OT for some reason.
No.
So we've built a operational technology flavor escape room, which are now, well, I've nearly finished it. I've got it all mapped out. I've tested bits of it out with some customers, but yeah, so that will be the next big one as well.
Do you have friends that you test everything out on, or is it customers? Do you have like
I do have friends.
I
have friends, but also I like test it out on customers because then I'm like, do you want to buy it while you've tested it? Come on, mate. So yeah, I get into a stage where it's like human facing before I go out to any clients with it.
Yeah. What do you reckon the next 5 years looks like for security awareness? I get that's a really open-ended question.
It is.
But where do you see anything? Do you see anything massively changing? I mean, we've not talked about AI once on this podcast, and I love that. Like, I think there's a lot of noise made about AI, and I think
I mean, AI is probably we've just partnered with an AI company to be able to provide some phishing training. So we've got an AI persona that can ring you up and try to scam you, and you can try and identify whether it's a scam or not, which is cool. So we're adding in some bits with AI, but I prefer to have the human factor in it. If we're talking about, we talk about human factors all the time, and then we fucking just pump it full of robots. So should we go back to the humans doing the human thing?
Yeah, I was explaining to someone the other day, AI for me, it makes me more efficient, but the minute it's AI doing it and not me, it's not me. And this is all part of, like, we are human, and we all think differently and we all behave differently. And it's, what makes me unique, AI doesn't understand that. And it's the same with you. Like, an AI version of you isn't going to be as unique and interesting as you are, and likewise, I hope.
Yeah, I think security awareness is going to start looking more at like behavioral psychology and that kind of thing. But I think it's not been looking at that before. I think it's just been how much fucking content can we push out to people, and can we monitor whether they're actually doing it or not. Whereas I think now people are kind of starting to realize, shit, we actually need to make some proper changes in how we're delivering messaging, and I think we'll see a lot more marketing tactics being used as part of that delivery as well.
I think we have to. I remember having discussions with my old CISO about, essentially, I said essentially what I do is sales and marketing for secure behaviours, and he was like, oh no, it's not that, and I'm like,
yes, it is.
I think it pretty much is, and I think that's the way it's going. I think we do need to treat everything like a continuous McDonald's, Coca-Cola marketing campaign. Only we've got, just being safe and being secure is the product that we're selling. Being aware is the product that we're selling.
Yeah, it's security via osmosis.
Yeah. You can't buy an off-the-shelf product to solve this problem.
No. But
tools like the cyber escape rooms help.
Yeah, you can buy a product. It's mine. Just buy that.
Where can we find out more about you and your products? I'll put links to Amy's LinkedIn profile on the newsletter and in the show notes. But Amy, where can they find out more about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so LinkedIn predominantly, but also cyberescaperoom.co. That's the one. Ooh. Everything should be on there.
Excellent. Look, it's been really great talking to you. When you've got something new and exciting, we'd love to have you back, and I'd love to have you back, and we can talk about it again.
Cool. That would be awesome. Thanks.
But yeah, it's been a really good chat. So thanks for joining, and we'll speak again soon.
Yes. Cool. Thank you.
Cheers, Amy.